It's quite heartening and nice to be here with you students. Although I expected much more elderly students, you all appear to be quite small, so to say. From here at least you are appearing to be very small children. But I believe all of you are from college and you are already grown up. See, it is heartening to be here with you all students because I have been a student right from childhood, and even now also I am a student. I have been a real student, not mugging up anything. Mugging up, you understand? Taking by heart just to put it down in the exams or just to pass the exams with a good marks. I have never done it. I was a student right from my childhood, and without understanding I have not written anything. Whatever I could understand, I have only written that. Not only that, even now also, from anybody, be he a small child, or a beggar on the road, or even a drunkard in the street, or politicians, or some great people, from everywhere I have something to learn. So I call a student when he learns from everywhere. That knowledge has no end to it. Till the last breath, we can go on learning and learning and learning from everything, from the insects, from the plants, from the animals, from the criminals in the jail. Hearing to them, we have occasions to meet some very so-called bad people also. Everywhere I have found there is so much to learn that you can never stop learning in this life. If we live for another 100 or 200 or even 1,000 years more also, the learning will never be over. So a student is one who goes on learning. That is why I said that I am a student, I has been a student, and I am still a student. So don't consider me as somebody has come to lecture us. Well, I have come, there is an arrangement that I will speak and you will hear, but I will be happiest when you also speak, not in a haphazard manner, not amongst yourselves like that, but wherever you have doubts, wherever you have questions, if you express yourselves, I will be very happy. So, it is just because of the arrangement that today I am here, I am speaking and you are listening, but it is supposed to be an interactional session where both of us will learn. And whatever you do, whether you listen or don't listen, you talk amongst yourself, you don't listen to me also, through that also I will learn. I will learn from everything. I have no problem in learning. That is why I have been telling that I am a student, I have been a student, and I will be a student. Now, as Kripa said in the beginning, that we feel very hurt that our country has so much of a treasure which the scholars of the world honor, but we don't honor it. And in many cases we call it religion. Our country did not have any religion when all these things were discovered. It has nothing to do with religion at all. And I don't know when we will stop calling it religion. The greatest discovery in the world, I repeat my word, the greatest discovery, much more important and magnificent than the discovery of anything we have done in science, the nuclear bomb or the space vehicles, whatever we have discovered, it has not really given us happiness. It has not been able to give us a peaceful life, a life of fulfillment. Whereas our people, understanding this fallacy of the world, They went inside and they discovered our real identity. What is real identity? What we actually are. And that discovery is so great that it can solve all our external problems and internal problems. External problems means it will give a very stable civilization, and individually it will fulfill us. I am calling it greatest discovery. I have for my support some of the greatest scientists, Nobel laureates of the world, and philosophers also, like Max Planck, Born, Eddington, Einstein also, so many others who have in one voice said that the greatest discovery of the world has been made in India, and that can solve all the problems of human civilization. And you may know, some of you may know at least, that till the 16th century, India was the richest country in the world. It was the richest country in the world. If I remember correctly, I think alone India was having at that time 27% of the GDP of the world. And it was much more when whole Europe together was having only 3% or so. These are data given not by Indians, but by the foreign companies who are surveying. The reference is there, the data is there. Now, in spite of this material bounty, the material progress India had, there was no decadence in the civilization. The problems we see today, that everybody is stressed, everybody is pressured, everybody is not happy, this kind of a problem was not there. How? Because it was a balanced growth, balanced development of spiritual and the material civilization. It is wrong to say that we were always poor. We were not poor at all till the Industrial Revolution in Europe. China was the next. Then after 16th century, China came up, became the first, the richest, and we were the second. Then the Industrial Revolution in Europe, it took over, and we started becoming poorer and poorer and poorer. But India, along with its material development, also had the great spiritual development. So the rich people of India, like the kings, they were not destabilized by their property or so. They were great in their mind, in their knowledge, in their wisdom, in their behavior. They were all icons. Even now, if we read their lifestyle, their sayings and all, we will understand where they stood. They used to be called in our country as Rajarshis, Raja Rishi. That means kings who were knowers. Our country was famous for, not that there were not bad kings also, they were there, but the country was famous for knower kings, the kings who had gone, who has known and actualized the ultimate truth, the knowledge of the ultimate truth. So the entire treasure, knowledge treasure bestowed by them, we don't honor it at all. There lies the great pity. So I thought of sharing, at least you should be able to understand what we are, and individually also where lies our power, who we are. It does not depend on the racial, religious, or linguistic characteristic of the people. It is true of all human beings on earth. It is true of anybody, anywhere in the world who has having the same personality features. It is true of them. These discoveries, if we know even a little bit of this, I think most of you students will not have the problems you are now suffering from. So we will try to discuss, we will not go into the spiritual discoveries, that the forum is different. Here we will only discuss our life, our mind, our intelligence, and how we can have a better grip on that. We are all slave to the object, slave to the circumstances. How we can become master of ourselves. That is our topic today. As I have written there, the goal is to become master of the world. But we don't mean that by master of the world, we don't mean that you will become the emperor of the world. It means that the world will not be able to subdue us, destabilize us, will not be able to make us small, defeated. And that we can do by becoming master of our own mind, intelligence and emotion. Now to do this, I will go through the slides step by step so that it becomes easy for you. If you have questions, even I don't mind you interrupt me while I am progressing, but in some cases I can tell you that I will reply you later if my flow gets interfered by that, interrupted by that. Show the second slide. See, here we have distinguished the two kinds of approach. Generally, our focus is always on external situation. That is always our problem is with the world. What does it mean? As I understand from your filled up forms, that many of you have problem with your parents, that the parents do not understand us, that the parents are always pressurizing us. Many of you have the problem with the economic condition, that some students are very rich and they show off their riches, and those who are poor, they suffer from inferiority. Many of you have written that the fear of exam and the peer pressure and all that competition. If you look into it, you have to go with me to analyze all your behavior, not the external behavior alone, but the behavior of your mind and intelligence. That is very important. In all these cases, what are you doing? When you are not happy, you are not satisfied, the blame is on the world. Is it not so? That the world is not all right, the parents are not all right, the teachers are not all right, the subjects are not all right, the economic condition is not all right, or the country is not all right, the education system is not all right. Our focus is always on the external. Now, I understand that there are faults in the external system. Everywhere there is something to be pointed out. Defects are there. But the spiritual approach is, before you correct the external things, to have the power to correct it, you have to first of all set right your internal problem. That I am not happy with any external situation, say with the teacher or with the parents or with the pressure I am suffering from. Where is the problem, if I ask you? Will you be able to follow me that the problem is in our mind? See, I am saying that when the problem you have discovered, that the first problem is with our mind, the problem is in us, that I am not happy with the situation. Is there any doubt about it? Why I am not happy, that I will see later. But the fact remains that I am not happy. So I am calling it a problem of our mind, to set right the mind, why it is not happy, and to make it happy, make it comfortable, make it self-seated, so that it can analyze the problem outside properly and take a decision so that the problem outside is also solved. Am I becoming too difficult? You please raise your hand if I am too difficult for you. But you have to think. I will make you think. If it is difficult, please raise your hand. Don't just keep quiet and not understanding anything. Is it okay? Now raise your hand if you are understanding. Let me see. A slow motion, but it is okay. See, so generally our way is always to blame the outside, the external world. Whereas in the spiritual approach, it is reversed. We have to look within. The real problem is in the mind. Treat your mind to deal with the difficulty within. Then deal with the external situation if possible. Suppose the education system. Can you overnight change your education system? The education system, whatever we are having, if it is not all right, if it is making us too much of hard work, which is only fed with information. I understand that now we are fed with only information and information and information. No real knowledge or wisdom is given. That is a fault in our education system. But what can you do about it? You cannot change it. Can you? It depends on the people who are designing the education system. When you grow up and you become respectable to others, you can try to change it. Otherwise, you cannot. Even when we try, we point out, we find the changes are not coming. We are also accepting. So, first of all, this external situation you cannot change easily. So, in that system you have to work. Education system is faulty, I understand. But in that faulty system, how can I grow my best? That should be the inquiry. Next slide. So, that is why I said that it is a process of what we are discussing today is slavery to mastery. What is the slavery? We are slave to the external situation. Suppose you are in the college or at home or anywhere. One person has suddenly spoken abusively to you, wrongly, in an angry manner or abusive manner. What happens generally? You are also getting equally angry or agitated and scolding him back or returning back his abuses. Is it not so generally? Whenever somebody is wrongly telling you anything, abusively, immediately you are fighting back. So, what is happening is that because of an external situation, you have lost your self-seatedness. This word, do you understand? Self-seatedness? That you don't like to get agitated, you don't like to get temper. Many of you have written that I am not able to control my temper. Now the temper is coming, you are not able to control. What does it mean? You are not master of yourself. You are slave to the situation. Whereas you have to remain poised even when somebody is wrong, somebody is speaking wrongly. Now I will give you a story regarding this. These stories, actually they are not stories, they are from the life of people. But even if they are stories, it doesn't matter at all. We are narrating these incidents only to learn from them. So this is a story about Buddha Dev. Now, whether it actually happened for Buddha or for anybody else, it doesn't matter at all. We have to learn from the behavior we are narrating of, the behavior of Buddha we are narrating. In his lifetime, Buddha became very famous in our country because that was a period when our Sanatana Dharma or traditional this spirituality etc. were at a very low ebb. And people were given to, any good thing also, after a few hundred years it gets perverted. There will be corruption, there will be anywhere there will be corruption after a certain time. Then again people will correct it and the civilization will be corrected. So Buddha was a revolutionary. He denied everything, that Vedic civilization and everything. And he had his own fulfillment through his own discovery. That is what I am saying. This knowledge and discovery, those who take to, they become great. They are always students. They learn from everything. So Buddha also learned from his experience and he became established and respected in his time. He became so famous that the other people, we call them tantrikas actually, they were given to various sorts of practices, and you know that even human bali was being given, human sacrifice. The animal sacrifice, human sacrifice, do you understand? That was very much in practice. That is why when Buddha when he had the inquiry, where lies the truth, he went from ashram to ashram, but nowhere he could get his answer. Nobody could guide him. Everywhere this human sacrifice or animal sacrifice and all kinds of strange mystic practices were going on. So Buddha could not get his reply. He sat looking into his own mind and got his discovery on his own. So he became very famous, and this tantrika who was otherwise famous at that time, he became very jealous of Buddha. Now you can understand this jealousy, etc., they are not great properties. When a person is not really great, he will suffer from jealousy. Otherwise, everybody has some good qualities and bad qualities. We should accept ourselves as we are. Now what happened, this Tantrika got very jealous of Buddha, and one day when Buddha was sitting under a tree, this Tantrika went close to him and started abusing left and right, which was nothing he spoke was true of Buddha, but he was abusing Buddha like that. Buddha kept quiet, looking at him peacefully. So the Tantrika got all the more agitated. This will happen to you also. You must be able to understand that when you are shouting at somebody and the person does not reply in the same manner, you get all the more agitated that the person does not consider anything. He is not respecting you at all. This happened to him also. He told Buddha that, what is this? You have become so proud of yourself that I am speaking to you for such a long time. You don't consider me a human being. You are not replying to anything at all. Then Buddha replied in a shloka. The shloka meaning is that it goes like this: dadatu dadatu gali gali mantaha bhavantaha. It is in Sanskrit. But the meaning is that, well, so far you have been giving me abuses. In this world, anybody can give whatever he has. Suppose a beggar goes to a rich person. The rich person has money, he can give it. If he doesn't have money, he cannot give it. He is not a rich person, he is a poor person, he cannot give it. Anybody can gift whatever he has. You have enough of riches of abuses in you, gali in you. So you can give it liberally to me. But what can I do? I don't have a single abuse in my mind. I cannot give you anything in return. Are you able to understand? Huh? Now, will you be able to behave in the same manner? Suppose you were being abused. To behave in the manner Buddha did, first of all, you have to have a full mastery over your ego, over your temper and everything. See, he is simply listening to what abuses are being thrown. Now, a really wise person, when he is abused by anybody, he will find out that is there any truth in what the other person is saying? Is he speaking correctly? Then I must correct myself. If I am wrong, I have hurt somebody, I must correct myself. And he has pointed out my defect. Then shall I fight him back or abuse him, or shall I thank him for pointing out my defect? You tell me, a good person, what will he do? You have, by abusing me, you have pointed out a defect in me which I want to correct. So I should thank you for pointing out the defect. Why should I abuse you in return? Is it not so? Or suppose the person, whatever he has said, there is no truth at all. It often happens. Maybe A has not done anything and C is scolding A that you have done this, that and all. Maybe B has done it. A has not done it. So it is not true of A, whatever the C is maligning. In that case, well, whatever the other person is saying, it is not true of me. So in that case, what do I have to do? It is for him to do whatever he wants. Whatever he is saying, it is not true of me. So I have nothing to do about it. It is his business what he does with the ideas he has. Maximum, I may try to correct that it is not true of me as far as I know. It was done by somebody else, but I am not involved in it. Or still better will be, for a really great person, what will happen? He will listen to the other person, and then he will say that, well, you don't behave like this every day. What has gone wrong today? Has anything gone wrong that you are very agitated today? Can I help you? Are you able to understand the behavioral difference in the two cases? One is a slave to the external situation. In the other case, he is master of his own mind, master of his emotion, master of his ego. So he is not slave to the external situation. So he has the power to correct the external situation also. How will he correct? The moment he says that, oh, you don't speak like that, has anything gone wrong? Has anything gone wrong with you today? definitely the other person will come down, will he not? The other person will definitely calm down. Calm down, C-A-L-M. He will become quiet because somebody is showing sympathy towards him. You know, once I was telling this story to a young foreigner. He is not a foreigner, but he is born and brought up in USA. We were walking along the canal and he was having problem with his temper and all. When this story was told, oh no, he is a foreigner, he is a Jew. He jumped up and said that my coming to India has become fulfilled. Why? Because I have got my point. This is what I have to do. See how the knowledge should work. That we are always fighting back. But we are fighting back because we are weak. When we become really strong, we will not fight back. But we will not allow certain things to happen. We may have revolution, we may try to correct situation with lot of courage and even necessary yatra or anything we can do. But the problem is we are not doing it out of strength, we are doing it out of weakness. Do you understand that? So this is what the slavery to the external situation means, and by looking into our mind and intelligence and emotion, when we set right, that is the spiritual solution to the external pressure. The second one is to likes and dislikes, slavery to likes and dislikes. Now this all of us know that something we like, we run after that, we cling to that, and something we dislike, we try to avoid it, try to run away from it. Even about food also, something we know is very nutritious, is needed for me, but because the taste is bad, I don't want to take it. This is slavery to likes and dislikes. That any item which is nutritious for us or particularly suited for my body, which will make my body strong, why am I not able to take it? Just because of the tongue, just because of the senses, that the tongue is not liking it. So we fail in in supplying the proper nutrition. This likes and dislikes will be there in everything, that we will always run after what we like and we will run away from what we dislike. Suppose a person has come. If somehow, generally we like very few people, of the 100 friends, we may like 1 or 2, or maybe we tolerate about 10 or 15, rest of them we cannot tolerate. Now, being all human beings and friends, is it right to do that? It is only because of certain behavioral dislike or some other dislike, or maybe dislike in the look or so, we are behaving like that. But if we can get over that, then we will find there is lot to learn, and loving, there is nothing greater than loving everybody, irrespective of whether the person loves me or not. The love is something, a great force coming out from our within. Can you find anybody in the world who does not like love? Is there anybody who doesn't like love? All of you don't like to be loved by others? Everybody, you will not find a single person, even the hardest criminal also, he will like to be loved by others. So, actually we don't have to be loved by others. If we love others, we will get the satisfaction much more than that. My point is clear. We are always looking for love from others, But truly speaking, when we love others, we will be very fulfilled and happy. Even a criminal we can love. That does not mean that we will become a criminal. But everybody needs love. And when we love others, we get joy, so much of joy, that you will not be able to dislike anybody anymore. You will love everybody. You may correct wherever there is defect and all, you may correct. But that does not mean that we will not love the people whose some behavioral traits we dislike or so. The third one is to success and failure. This is most important, that how to remain master here. That is not to be slave to success and failure. Whenever there is success, we become elated. Whenever there is failure, we become depressed. And not only that, if we consider our exams, the fear of failure in the exam, because of that we cannot study even. That is the most common problem we find with the students. It may not be failure in the failing sense, but suppose those who are very good students, they will be anxious of whether I will have the first rank or the first class or not, or whether I will get in medical or IIT or not, all these things. Now, because of this anxiety whether I will be successful or not, we will not be able to prepare well even, because the mind is set on the final gain of I have got the chance into a good institution, or the others will think better of me, or if I fail, father will send me away from the house. Anything can be there, either this way or that way. Always we will be worried about what is the situation. The next one. So the solution lies in accepting in our mind success and failure. What does it mean? Go further. Now, this is the common definition of success. It means accomplishment of a desired aim. And how do you define it? Success comes only after completion of the project. That is, when it is your exam, the success you will be tell only if you are successful in the exam, successful in getting a rank, or successful in passing, or successful in having some good marks, or getting in some interview or anything. So only when your studies are over and you have passed the exam, you have got back your result, then only the question whether you have been successful or not, that discussion will come. Yes, I have been successful, or I have failed. Anxiety about success affects performance. That I have already explained. Failure leads to dissatisfaction, depression. And the joy of success is short-lived. Suppose you have got the first class also, you will be very happy that I have done very good in the exam. So you are joyous. But very soon campus interview, and although you have done well in the exam, you have not been selected. Then again the success of the examination completely is gone. You are now depressed about not getting the campus interview. Is it not so? Whereas the real definition of the success should be, it is an attitude of the mind that ensures best performance under any situation. What does it mean? That suppose we are in a family where nobody has learnt anything, they are all illiterate. I am the first person who is studying, and I always complain that I am not able to do well because my parents have not studied, my brothers or sisters, they have not studied, I am the alone, and they don't regard anything about that, they are not considerate to allow me to study well. All these complaints will be there. But the spiritual way of looking at it will be that, can you not make the best of the situation? Whatever situation you are, you cannot change it. You cannot change your father and mother. You cannot change the family. You cannot change your brother and sister. You can only, in your life, you can select only the wife or the husband. The partner you can select. That selection is possible. Even the children you cannot select. See, the parents you cannot select, the children you cannot select, the siblings you cannot select. So normally the situation is given to you, and you have to perform the best under the given situation. Suppose you have joined, after you have passed, you have joined a factory or an office, an institution, where you find that the people are not working properly. Maybe you are very brilliant, you are very much successful, very bright, very brilliant. But the others are not all right. You will find in most of the cases, they will say that, oh, I am so dejected, I am so depressed, the people do not work here. You can go on complaining like that. Nothing will happen, you will become unsuccessful by that. But can you not think about it in a different manner, that whatever people I have, I will make the best of the success with them. Let me find out how I can inspire the students, how I can inspire the colleagues, how I can inspire my subordinates, my employees. We will all work together for the company, because finally our life is depending on maybe we may think that I will get a salary at the end of the month, but that is not so. We are getting the salary only when the company is existing. So our first thought should be for the institution we are working for. When the institution progresses, individuals also will progress. But generally we always lose this comprehensive thought, the wholesome thought we don't have. We are selfish, we think only about ourselves and go on repenting that I don't have good people, good colleague to work for. Suppose I am now speaking. If I had expected a very vibrant crowd and very brilliant students and all, which it is perhaps not so. I am not telling anything to you. I am saying that an hypothetical situation where I have come to speak and I found it is not only student, in a lecture hall also, in some other spiritual gathering also, that they are not seekers, they are not interested in listening to the truth. Then what am I to do? Am I to blame all of them that you are no good and go away from there? Or I must try to, at least if some of them get benefited also, I should put my full effort and I should work for it, so that at least some of them can be finally benefited by that. And I will try to present things in a manner so that it will be beneficial to the most of the people. I may not be successful fully, but to the extent my capacities or my knowledge is there, I will try to do it. That is what I am doing here also. What I had thought of speaking, many of the things have already changed. I have not spoken what I had thought of speaking. I am speaking something which I feel that will be useful for most of them, because very young children have come. If from our experience, from our sharing, some benefit is there, it will be so good, we will be happy about it. So what I am doing is trying to make not that, oh, I thought of speaking this, speaking that, now nobody is able to understand anything and you shout about it. What is the point? That is what we are all of us are doing. The parents are not all right, the teachers are not all right, the syllabus is not all right, the books are not all right. Many have written, the teachers I don't like at all, they are so boring. Let the teachers be boring, but you become non-boring. You become more, because the next generation, next to next generation, there the intelligence is growing. So if our previous generation is not so intelligent, that makes us all the more, the demand is there that we should behave in a more intelligent manner. So that you become so intelligent in the class that the teacher will have to further brush up his knowledge. That is always possible. We can have, provided you are humble. So the vision, the idea should be always to look into the situation and where my mind can excel. So that the mind which is always trying to excel in any situation, such a mind is called a successful mind. So we are defining the success in a different manner. It is an attitude of the mind. What will happen in this case? The focus will be completely on the work, the project, whatever we are doing. The thought that will I be successful or will I not be, that thought will not come. It doesn't mean that you will not plan, you will not think of the result. You will think everything. Suppose you are making a machine or a factory to produce shoes. Naturally the factory has to produce shoes. It should not produce pencil or pen. So you have to think well, and not only that, suppose you are producing car. When the factory starts finally producing the car, it has to be marketable. By that time, if the demand in the market has gone, suppose all of us are now gathering for IT. Already IT has become a little, depression has started coming. So seeing that IT profession has got more money, you are all running for IT, information technology. But by the time you pass out, maybe IT will not have that glamour at all. And maybe you are not fit for IT also. Everything needs a certain trends in our mind, certain qualities of our mind. Nowadays in 10th class, whoever does well, they will take to either science or commerce, or finally aim is IT. But maybe such a person can excel in art. in language, in literature. But the whole decision gets displaced, not only because of you, because of your parents also. Because that desire for the money or some position, etc., they change our decisions. That is, our focus is not on what we are doing, what we are capable of, what we should do. Now, no anxiety ensures best performance. When you are not worried about, suppose you are worried about the final result, say student, ordinary student, you are afraid of failing. Now, the anxiety that whether I will fail or I will not get first class, you are not able to study. We have many examples like that. They have, one case we know, he was failing again and again, maybe 3 times he failed. Just by the anxiety, he will not be able to write anything in the exam, but he knows very well. So what he has to do is to forget about the result completely. Suppose if you have learned the subject well, then you will be able to write well also. Your purpose is to write in the exam, and accordingly you will get the marks. But suppose you are worried about what I will get, what will be the marks, will I fail, will I get this, will I get that, and further future, what will happen after that. By that you are not able to study even. So it is absolutely foolish. And who can correct it? It is you who has to correct, understand. Through what? Through knowledge. That you have to understand that this is not the way, it is spoiling my studies. Let me study well. I am a student, I should study well, I should learn the subjects well. Then whatever comes in the exam, if I know, I will write. If I don't know, I will not write. Now you will find that you are not able to have this mindset. So what we generally suggest, and in that case we had suggested, we had great result, is that you consider in your mind that you have failed. You are sitting with the juniors, you feel ashamed. And if worse possible, your father has scolded you, beaten you, maybe he has sent you out of the house also. All these conditions, whatever will happen if you fail, you impose on yourself. It is called that self-addressed. You have to associate in your mind that this is the situation and then accept it. What is the meaning of this acceptance? Accept it means the situation, imaginary situation you induce on yourself, and accept it. Yes, I have failed. My father has sent me away. Father has beaten. I accept everything. Everything I have taken. And I will do like that. What else can be done? Whatever to be done, I will do. If you accept everything like that, then you will find that the fear has gone. It depends on the wholesomeness of your effort. You understand wholesomeness? Wholesomeness of your effort means how much fully you are able to put you into that situation and accept the situation. If you can do it, you will find that absolutely you have become free. Whatever you can, you will study and you will do. And the person, the boy we are talking about, he got very good marks after that, practicing it. It can be done. Once you do, you will know the technique also. Unless you do, you will not understand the technique. If you do it, you will find the mind works like that. This acceptance has a magical power. I thought of speaking about it later, but I can go ahead with it because the point has come. This acceptance, suppose something has happened. Let us say somebody has lost his job, lost his property, lost his money, lost his relatives also. He is standing on the street. Do you get my point? The incident? Now, at that time, he is crying, wailing, and he is wanting to commit suicide. In some cases, they do commit suicide when the cultivators, so many cultivators committed suicide because the crop was not proper. He is ready to commit suicide. Now, where from this suicidal thought or the wailing, crying, these are coming? It is a stressed situation of the mind, is it not? There, the acceptance of the situation. Without accepting, can you change the situation? It has already happened. It has already happened. Can you not accept it? By not accepting, nothing can be done. But the moment you accept it, yes, I have lost everything. I am a beggar on the street. You accept it fully, wholeheartedly. You will find the entire stress is gone. The mind will become free like the air, like the sky. The whole stress will immediately go. And then you can take a decision what is to be done to further regain my property or regain whatever to be done. The external situation can be very well solved, and nature will also come to your help in that case because of your open, free mind. It is very easy to do provided you take it, you understand it, and you put it into action. Did you not understand my point? By not accepting, you are not gaining anything. Providentially, the situation has already happened. So you cannot, but you have to accept it. But by accepting the situation as it is with all the difficulty, suffering, what will happen is the stress from your mind will go. You will become absolutely free in the mind. And then you can look for whatever redressal can be done. So this acceptance is a great key to remove all our stress. Whatever stress is there, accept the situation. Oh, my father beats every day. Theek hai, I accept it. Every day by stressfully we cannot do anything. One day you tell father that I was previously doing like this, but I thought that if my father cannot change his behavior, I will accept the beating every day. I know of a person who used to pick up twigs from the forest, young as a child, from the forest and bring for her father to beat her. You get my point? Picking up good sticks from the forest when she was playing in the forest and gifting it to the father, I have brought it from the forest with which you can beat me. Will the father be able to beat such a child? See, everywhere it becomes so easy, provided you have that facile mind, that loving mind. What is the harm if you pick up father was beating, you pick up a good stick for your father so that he can beat you comfortably? What is wrong in it? But we don't think in that manner basically, not that we are fearful of it. And by doing this, what happens? The whole focus being on work, you will find that you are working with lot of joy. When you are not worried about the result which is coming, your work performance will be the maximum. It will be so joyous because we are not getting the joy because our focus is not on the work. We are not fully devoted to the work. Always the agitation and the pressure and the stress is coming because our mind is on the ultimate gain. So even when we are studying also, we are not doing the studies properly because focus is not on the study but on the marks at the end and further whatever gains are there with the marks. So we are not able to have joy in study. When we are focused on studies, we will find so much of joy in the study. You don't have to worry about it. And if you study such joyously, automatically you will perform well. The best possible for you, you will do it. Next. So this is what happens. The being successful means to be successful with your mind. You work from joy and not for joy. This statement, are you able to understand? Normally we work so that when the work is completed, I will be happy. In this case, it is not so. I will work with full effort, seeing the result, this, that, everything correcting, but putting full devotion to the work. So we will be joyous every moment. Finally, even if we fail, we will not be unhappy by that because you have done your maximum. And you will see how it can be done better. See, in a game, say football or so, always one team will win, another team will lose. So we know it, but with the anxiety of if we cannot win this time, if we are anxious about it, then will we be able to play well? That anxiety will not allow us to play well. But if your devotion is fully on the game, you play your maximum, you try to make the goal in the best possible manner, you think, your mind is free to think, your intelligence is free to find out what is the best way to do it. You will perform best. By that, even if you lose, it does not matter because one party will have to lose, somebody will have to lose. You cannot always think of only I will win, the others will not win. We should be happy when others have also won, provided we have played very well to the full effort. This is actually from Bhagavad Gita. Just if you know it, it is a great book of all the solutions are given there. Yogaha karmasu kaushalam means yoga is the way to excellence. We always speak about yoga as some physical posture, this, that and all. The real yoga is not that. Real yoga is remaining always anchored in our real identity, so that whatever happens in the world, we take it wholeheartedly. We call it acceptance or evenness of the mind. Now, knowledge is the best remedy. Approach through knowledge and reason. Do not preach. This we tell the parents, but the parents have already mostly grown, parents and teachers also. So at least if you know now, you should become better teacher and better parents. That never try to control the children or the young ones or the students by saying that you have to do this because I am telling this, or I tell you do this, I tell you do that. There is enough scope for us to always explain through reason, why am I telling you? And explaining that if you do this way, that this will happen, and if you do the other way, then this will happen. And then you are free to select, but know that the future is in your hand. That which path you choose, it depends on that. Now, in many cases, the student or the young ones may have a difference of opinion. We should completely listen to their opinion and try to analyze and find out whether my opinion is right or their opinion is right. In many cases, their opinion will be right. So, it is not easy to bring up a children. We always say that to bring up a child is to bring up yourself. To bring up a child is to bring up yourself. Why? Because to answer and approach the child through knowledge, you have to activate your own knowledge faculty, your own intelligence, your own thought process. Everything has to be activated. So you cannot bring up a child properly by saying do this, do that, or it must be done like this. Many people are there who are very religiously oriented, and they force God on the children. They try to force God, puja, temple on the children. It should not be. By that what happens? The children very soon develop a against feeling about all that the parents are doing. In the name of religious practices or puja, whatever the parents or the teachers are doing, the young ones, they develop a feeling against that. It is not serving any plus purpose, it is serving only negative purpose. But we should be able to explain to them why I am saying that you should do. But that knowledge they don't have. They are not able to tell. So they should acquire that knowledge that I am telling you because of this. Well, God may be there or may not be there. But if sometimes you keep quiet, looking into your mind, then this will happen, that will happen, like that you can say. Or even if the child says that I don't believe in any God. Yes, you need not believe in God, but don't you believe in yourself? Suppose a person is a believer of God. What is he believing in? He is believing in the concept of God. Concept is in his mind. Suppose there are 1 million doing puja for Shiva. The concept of Shiva in each mind is different. It is not the same. So anybody doing worship he is doing worship for whatever he believes to be the God. Similarly, another person believes in no God. That is, there is no God, atheist. Believes in no God. That is also fine. But both are beliefs, that one is believing in some concept of God, another is believing in the concept of no God. Both are his belief, but actually both, do they not believe in himself or herself? Without his I being there, he cannot have this belief or non-belief or anything. So if we ask them that the whole power, whatever happens in your life is depending on your mind and intelligence, how you build up your personality. Why don't you every day sit quiet for some time in front of the puja room or wherever you like and look into your mind and at least think, have I been a good human being? What I have done, is it wrong or is it bad or is it good? There are many ways we can guide the children, not by forcing anything which we have also done without any without thinking about it. People have been doing puja throughout their life for 60 years. They don't know whether they have gone one step closer to the God or one step behind. They never think about it. For suppose you take some food, will you not question that? Suppose your hunger is not satiated after eating for 15 minutes. Will you not question the food? Am I really taking the food? Or what is wrong with the food? Or what is wrong with me? Will you not ask? But people don't ask themselves, I am doing puja for 60 years and I don't know what has happened to me. Nobody asks that question. This is absolute foolishness. Not only foolishness, that nothing will happen through that. So, when the young people, they are more intelligent, they question our practices, we should be able to equip them with a knowledge approach. If I don't have the knowledge, I have to discuss and I have to grow in my knowledge. Then only we will be able to bring up a better generation, and they also will be able to bring up a still better generation. The society will evolve, will progress like that. So enquiry always leads to growth. But a child will naturally have the enquiry. When a baby is born, you will find that it is inquiring about everything. It is even taking the mud and tasting it, whether it is something eatable or not. It will look into everything, break everything, look into everything. There is lot of enquiry in the child. But that enquiry soon goes because of a wrong teaching by the parents as well as the teachers. That we kill the enquiry. Then this is not to be done, that is not to be done. Well, we have to discipline them. We can explain the discipline also, but not by killing their enquiry. If we kill the enquiry, then their evolution will not take place at all. Next. This is what we would like to explain to the children. Discipline leads to freedom. Why did I say that? I will give a few examples. Suppose a small boy or a child, he wants to play. He doesn't want to study. Now, somehow in the beginning, we have to force him to study the letters. For that, we have plenty of books where they will give colorful pictures and all to attract the child. Earlier days, we had to force that, learn A, B, C, D, and it will be written only A, only B. So it was a forceful effort. Now people have devised so many ways so that it becomes interesting for the child. His enquiry is not killed, but he gets interested in learning the letters through another process. So he learns the letters, then he learns the grammar, learns the language, then he starts reading the books. It could be good books, bad books, whatever, could be detective books, whatever. Now, he enjoys reading the book. At that time, should we not tell him that, see, earlier you were playing always, you did not want to even learn the letters. Now that you have learned the letters, learned grammar, learned the language, did you not have the freedom in the whole world of literature now? You can read any book, read any story, get so much of knowledge, so much of interesting stories. Is it not a freedom in the world of literature? How did you get it? Without undergoing the discipline of learning the letters, grammar and the language, would you have got this freedom? Are you able to understand? So it is only the discipline which has given him the freedom. So we have to explain to them that any freedom comes through discipline alone. Without discipline, no freedom comes. That is true in any field. Suppose in music, to have the freedom in the world of music, how much of practice they do? Do you know? The classical singers and others, whoever shines in the musical field, how much of discipline they have to undergo just to have the freedom in the world of music. Even in sports, music and all you may not like, but what about sports? Bradman used to always throw the ball on the wall and hit it with the bat, and it will go on for hundreds of times like that, to keep his attention and the angle and all the hits. You know about it. Any sportsman, how much of practice they have to do. Even the sportsmen of gymnastics or runners or wrestlers, anywhere to get a freedom in a world, we need to undergo the disciplines. Without discipline, there cannot be any freedom at all. So if you think that I will grow my personality very good and I will be respected by everybody, I will become a great man, but I will not undergo any discipline. It's only fool's paradise. It will never happen. And if you undergo the discipline corresponding to what my aim is, naturally it will happen. Even in studies also, any difficult subject, I remember certainly of my, when we were in postgraduate studies, everybody used to leave the statistical mechanics. Statistical mechanics was very difficult in physics course. And the question paper will be in such a manner that you can avoid studying it. Somehow because the choice given, but then all other questions you have to reply. Then you can skip statistical mechanics. And that is what people used to do. But they will not be able to perform well because all others you have to reply. That may not be possible always, it will not be good. But they would refuse to learn statistical mechanics. What is the way to learn? Because statistical mechanics needs a lot of imagination, abstraction, we call it abstraction, to understand it. So unless you follow the discipline of going through that abstraction and learning the language of statistical mechanics, it will never be easy to you. So what I did, I got quite a few books from the British Council, about 3-4 huge books, and started learning by myself because the teacher was not able to explain very well those days, in our case at least. So I started learning without going to the university, without going anywhere, and I was constantly, completely drowned in it for about maybe 12 days or so. Completely. And after 12 days, I felt almost nausea. It was so much, day and night I was studying only it. But you know that after that, the statistical mechanics became my great weapon. I could understand anything with that and it became so easy to me, only by undergoing the discipline. And then I discovered how it has to be understood. So many of my classmates also, they used to come and learn statistical mechanics from me. Now what is this? To discover that there is some harmony in it, there is some discipline in it, to uncover, to discover that discipline, and then to understand the subject very well. Because the books are written by human beings only. You should be able to learn. If you are studying the subject, you should be able to learn. Like that mathematics also. People are often extremely fearful of mathematics. In many students' case, I have seen, by the instruction given, they have performed very well in mathematics. What is that? When you do one kind of sums or so, you feel that I have learnt it. And at the end of each chapter, there will be so many practice examples given. Most students will not attempt them. No, I have learnt it, so I will be able to do it. They will not be able to do it. The doing good in mathematics depends on, even if you have learnt, work out all the problems given at the chapter end. Do it methodically, properly. You will find that things become easy and you will be able to reply everything. It is that this is the way you have to understand. That certain things we may think theoretically that I have learned, but unless you work it out, you will never be able to know. Similarly, when some problem is given, any science subject, if you go on thinking, how will I solve it, it will not be solved. It is not possible. Go in a disciplined manner, organized manner. Oh, these are the parameters given to me. These are the equations I know. These are the variables given. Write down everything and start working on it. You will find that soon it is getting solved. It just simply happens. In research also it happens like that. Simply we have to work out in an orderly, harmonious fashion. The solution will come. So discipline is must for anything. Discipline gives us the freedom. That we should understand. How to deal with our selfishness. We are rank selfish, every one of us. We don't think of the cultivators who are making the food for us. We don't think of the businessmen who are trading and bringing the food for us. We don't think of the weavers who are responsible for giving us the cloth. We don't think of the masons where we are where we are living, where we are conducting our program. We are forgetful of the whole world. But nowhere we can stay with our own alone. even in the building, and after the building, when we are walking stepping down on the street, whose street it is? Everywhere it is togetherness and commonality is important, but we forget. The air we breathe, if the air is polluted by some industrialist who is not filtering the air properly, just to increase his profit and throwing the effluent in the air, is he not breathing the same air? Will not his children and grandchildren breathe the same air? But he will not think. For whom he is collecting more money, more profit, to give it to his children and grandchildren, but they will not have the health to enjoy that money at all. See, our selfishness that makes us so constricted, we are not able to know our future. Everywhere it is like that. So we must understand that life, right from the atom to the cosmic level, it is a life of togetherness and discipline. No crystal or no solid or liquid or anything of the material particles would have been there unless the atoms were bound by a certain discipline and togetherness. That is what I have shown here. That even a particle also, inside also what is happening is a harmony, a togetherness is there. Now with these atoms, they bring up molecules with a certain harmony, then those molecules grow further with a certain harmony, then we have these human bodies and animal bodies and all. If we violate that harmony, that no, I am alone, is it ever possible? If the air we are breathing, we say, no, this is my air, I will keep it in my lung. Will you be able to keep? What about the cosmic level? All the planets, galaxies even, everywhere there is harmony and discipline. How can we flout it? That togetherness and teamwork is fundamental in our life. The more we forget, we come away from the sustainability of the life. The more we become selfish, we are destroying the sustainability of the civilization. We must understand. This has to be understood right from childhood. Suppose one day the earth says that I have been going around and around and around in the same rhythm for millions or billions of years. Let me take a little rest today for 1 second. What will happen? If the earth stops rotating for a second, not even a second, a fraction of a second, what will happen? Or the sun stops radiating for a second, what will happen? They are going on and on and on in the same rhythm to preserve the world harmony, the cosmic harmony. Now, with that, we come to the discipline which has to be pursued to have a great personality, or at least a very good congenial personality. By food, generally we mean only eating through the mouth. But actually it is not so. By food, in Sanskrit we call ahara. Ahara means all the inputs we take. That is, food input is the gross input through the mouth. For the mind, what is the food? For the mind, what is the food? Thoughts, emotions, they are the food for the mind. So the mind will become stronger and more powerful provided you look into the nourishment of the mind also. As the body will become stronger, provided you feed the body with nourishing food, gross food. Similarly, the mind will become stronger and it will be able to do whatever you want to do only when it is fed with proper thoughts, ideals, emotions, etc. Where will you get? It is very easy. Read good books, see good films. Now everything is available on the internet also. Listen to good talks, read good things, think lovingly about others, liberally about others, not in a selfish manner. It will make your mind vast and powerful. So for the mind, we need good thoughts and emotions and ideals to develop the mind properly. Similarly, food for emotional enrichment. We have to read about where sacrifice, love, all these things are there, which will make your mind very sensitive to the poor, to the suffering people, and to the others also, which will make your mind loving towards everybody. It will be such a comfortable life to live. You know that when the mind becomes good, you won't even like to meditate. You are finding it strange. People try to meditate, they are not being able to successfully meditate. But truly speaking, what are we doing in meditation? The mind stops. There the mind stops. Because we don't like the mind in its normal state, we want to get to that free mind state where the mind is not thinking, without any thought. But still more likable will be when the mind is generating thoughts which are all loving, liberal, expanding, expansive thoughts. Then you will find the mind so comfortable that you will never like to meditate, or you don't need to meditate even, and you would not like to have meditation anymore. Do you get my point? So, mind has to be fed with good things so that the mind starts becoming noble, great. Then our life will become happy. We will all become comfortable. This is a knowledge to be understood. If we are able to grasp this knowledge, then our life will undergo the transformation also. We are not able to do because of so many attraction and repulsion we are always slave to. So this slavery, if you can overcome, we will become master of it, and life will become very happy. Similarly, for the intelligence, the fourth one, food for the intelligence. Now the intelligence also, for a thief also, the intelligence is very active. He will find out how to gain more, how to thieve more. Even some corrupt industrialist, they will think how to increase the profit by deceiving the children, deceiving the population, deceiving people. Even in pharmaceutical companies also it is happening. By spoiling the whole civilization, they are gaining more money. That also is through the intelligence. They are advertising in that manner to fool us. All the advertisements are generally to fool us, so that we are attracted to that. So, intelligence can think in bad manner also. But to grow a really benevolent personality, we have to give the intelligence proper thing to analyze, which will make the intelligence sharp, subtle, and also benevolent. So these are the food for the body, mind, intelligence. Unless we supply the nourishing food, our personality will not be good. We must absorb this knowledge and try to improve our personality by changing these inputs to our personality.